Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome back for another card. Today I'm using this really super cute set by Lil Inker Designs. It's called Unscramble This and has a bunch of puzzles. So it's got words all mixed up on the right and some blanks to fill in, and then these are the answers. So there's lots of different sentiments in here, so you can use it for all different cards. And then there's a peekaboo die that coordinates with it. And I'm also using this new Mama Elephant basic border set. I just thought it would be really useful. I'm going to be using these solid stripes. Now I've also got these two arrows which I used last week, this mod arrow border, and I cut out these arrows that I didn't use, so I'm going to be using them this week. Now the first thing I'm going to do is take some Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake cardstock. I'm going to mark the middle of it. This is 5.5 inches wide, and I'm going to be trimming it, so I just need it to be wide enough. Now I'm going to run it through my Sizzix, and then when it comes out you'll see that it's just scored at the top, and then there's a little slit that you can put your finger into and lift it up. Now I love the look of Versamark Tone on Tone on some crumb cake cardstock or craft cardstock. I actually tested this on a few different brands of craft cardstock, and I just like the way it looks the best on the Stampin' Up! So anyway, I'm going to just stamp this across the top above the peekaboo die, and then I'm going to mask off so that I don't stamp on the little thing that gets lifted up, and I'm going to stamp, and it just so happens that it fits exactly 3 lines on the side. Now you're going to be careful not to put exactly the same word underneath so that it looks like it's kind of mixed up. So I'm going to do this third row here, and then I'll continue doing 3 times on the other side, and then I'll do 1 row on the bottom. Okay, and when I'm finished with this, I'm going to actually, just in case people are confused by this puzzle, they're going to get some directions. So this is a little sentiment that you put underneath the peekaboo die, and it says lift here for answer. That way they know what to do. And then on top of this peekaboo, I'm going to be putting the lines for the puzzle, like the little dashes for the word. That's all mixed up. And then I will actually put the letters that they're supposed to use to solve the puzzle. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside for a minute, and I'm using some Hero Arts neon inks, blue and green, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber to color my arrows. And then I'm going to start this bottom portion of the card, which is going to use this thick, well, it's not too thick, it's kind of thin, stripe. Now notice I want it to be perfectly straight, so I lined it up against my block, and then I adhered it to my block. So I'm going to get my 2 inks ready, blue and green, because I'm going to be alternating. So because I only need a short piece, I'm going to ink it up with the blue, and then I'll stamp it. And rather than cleaning off my stamp every time, I'm just going to flip it over, and then I'll use the green and stamp it again right next to it. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth, flipping the stamp over, and it goes pretty quickly. And because it's clear, you can see where you need to stamp. And once I get all those finished off, I'm going to do the piece that's going to go underneath the peekaboo. So mine says happy birthday, so I'm stamping it with some Versamark ink, and I'm going to sprinkle some white embossing powder and heat that to set it. Now I wanted underneath to be blue, and I wanted it to match the other blues, so I'm using the Hero Arts neon again, and I'm using a sponge dauber, and I'm just going to ink all around this happy birthday sentiment, and it's going to be resisted because it's been heat embossed. And I don't need total coverage because it's going to go underneath my craft piece. But I do need to make sure that I extend the ink enough to cover everything. Now I slow this down a bit so you can see. So what I do, rather than wipe a baby wipe and potentially remove some of the neon ink, I take my tissue and I dip it into a baby wipe, and then I use that to wipe away any ink that may have stuck to the resisted area. Alright, I use some dimensionals to pop that up on top of the happy birthday. And then I've got my tweezers and a 2-way glue pen, and I'm going to put these arrows just pointing to the puzzle. I love these tweezers. I know I say that every time I use them, and I'll have a link. Alright, now I'm just figuring out where all my pieces are going to go so that I can stamp this Can You Solve This Puzzle at the top and make it centered. So I'm going to stamp it, and I'm going to get my Stamp-A-Majig because the words are kind of thick, and I want to make sure I get good black coverage on it. So I'll stamp it twice. and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere all the pieces. So the black strips are a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch, I'd say maybe 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to glue that to the top. And then next up is my craft piece with the puzzle on it, and I'll put some dimensionals on the side, and then I just have some flat adhesive in the middle because that's already been popped up with the sentiment underneath. And then I'll put that on top, and I'm making it kind of a little bit on top of the black, so just a little bit of the black is showing. And then I'll take my other black strip and put it at the bottom, and then kind of put it underneath there a little bit because it's popped up by the dimensionals. And I'll just make sure that they're showing the same amount of black, and then I'll just trim off the excess. And that's it. It's such a cute set, and there's so many different sentiments in there. Anyway, so cute. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.